The Corsair is 7.3 meters long. It carries up to 450 kilograms of payload. It moves at over 35 knots, 65 kilometers per hour, across 1,000 nautical miles of open ocean. It runs on diesel. It requires zero crew, and it is equipped with a 360-degree passive sensor array, long-range radar, and electronic signal capture systems. On June 8, 2026, it did something no vessel in history had ever done. Task Force 59 inputs the GPS coordinates from the pilot's emergency beacons. The Corsair receives them. It moves. No crew briefing, no pre-flight checklist, no pilot strapping in. The vessel orients toward the coordinates and accelerates into the darkness of the Gulf of Oman. What makes the Corsair the right tool for this exact mission is not its speed, it is its silence. The vessel operates entirely on passive sensing, 360 degrees of sensor coverage that detects everything around it without emitting a single trackable signal. No active radar ping, no sonar broadcast, no radio transmission that Iranian electronic warfare systems can identify and lock onto. It moves through Iranian-monitored water like a ghost. It sees everything. It is seen by nothing. The Gulf of Oman at night is not empty. IRGC patrol craft operate in these waters. Iranian surveillance drones circle overhead. Any vessel broadcasting an active radar signature would be identified, tracked, and potentially intercepted within minutes. The Corsair broadcasts nothing. It navigates entirely on the GPS signal from the pilot's survival beacons. A signal so targeted, it functions as a private channel between two men floating in hostile water and the machine moving toward them. Approximately 2 hours after the Apache hits the water, the Corsair reaches the coordinates. 2 pilots, black water, no lights, no crew, no human hands reaching down. The Corsair arrives at the exact coordinates, and the 2 men, combat-trained U.S. Army aviators, pull themselves onto the deck of a robot, alone, in the dark, in the middle of Iran's operational zone. In that moment, the future of warfare boards a 24-foot boat. The Corsair does not return to base. It transports the 2 pilots to a secondary position in the water, a pre-designated extraction point away from the crash site and away from the highest concentration Iranian patrol zones. At that secondary position, a U.S. Navy rescue helicopter, now operating in a significantly reduced threat environment, performs the final extraction. The pilots are hoisted aboard. Both men are confirmed safe and uninjured. Total time from Apache impact to confirmed rescue, approximately 2 hours. The entire operation, from beacon activation to pilots aboard the helicopter, was executed without a single additional U.S. service member entering the Iranian-monitored threat zone. No rescue swimmer in the water, no manned vessel with searchlights for Iranian radar to track, no second aircraft in contested airspace. A captain spokesman for U.S. Central Command confirmed the details. The Corsair picked up the 2 pilots and transported them to another location in the water, where they were hoisted to a helicopter for further transfer. Task Force 59 had been deploying these vessels in the operational zone since late March 2026. This was not a test. This was not a demonstration. This was a combat search and rescue operation, the first autonomous maritime rescue in the history of armed conflict. This is not just about 2 pilots in the water. This is about whether the machines that saved them will now define every war that follows, and who controls those machines. The Corsair rescue did not just save 2 lives. It validated an entirely new doctrine. For years, the U.S. military had been testing autonomous maritime vessels in controlled environments: harbor patrol, intelligence collection, logistics support. Task Force 59 had been the laboratory. The Gulf of Oman had been the testing ground. On June 8, 2026, the test ended. The Corsair performed a combat search and rescue operation in a live threat environment against an adversary actively monitoring every frequency in the water without a single additional casualty. The Navy's $392 million contract with Saronic Technologies now looks less like a procurement decision and more like a strategic pivot point in the history of warfare. Precisely because the Strait of Hormuz is too dangerous for traditional rescue assets, the Corsair was there. Precisely because it emits no signal, it survived, precisely because it needed no crew. No additional lives were placed at risk. The moment an autonomous vessel rescues a downed aircrew in a combat zone, the calculus of military risk changes permanently. Commanders can now send machines into environments where sending humans means accepting casualties. That threshold, crossed for the first time on June 8, 2026, does not uncross. And what it means for the future of warfare, for the Strait of Hormuz, for the balance of power between the United States and Iran, is a question that does not have a clean answer. But here is what we know for certain. Go back to 11:33 p.m. on June 8th. 2 men in the water, the Gulf of Oman. Iranian radar scanning every frequency. No rescue helicopter available. No manned vessel safe to send. Every traditional option closed. And somewhere in that darkness, a 24-foot machine with no crew and no fear is already moving toward them at 65 kilometers per hour. This is how it actually happened. A $35 million Apache, downed by a $20,000 drone, 2 pilots, energy-absorbing seats, dark water, emergency beacons transmitting, Task Force 59, coordinates received, decision made in seconds. A 24-foot vessel, diesel engine, 35 knots, 0 emissions, 360-degree passive sensors, 1,000 nautical miles of operational range, 2 hours. No human crew entered the threat zone. No additional aircraft flew into Iranian-monitored airspace. No rescue swimmer entered the water. No manned vessel turned on its searchlights. A machine found them. A machine reached them. A machine brought them to safety. And then, 24 hours later, 3 waves of American air power dismantled the infrastructure that built the weapon that started all of this. The Corsair rescue was not a footnote. It was not a lucky outcome. It was the first proof of concept for a new kind of warfare, one where the most dangerous missions are executed by machines, and the humans who would have died completing them are still alive. One question remains. A robot found them. A robot saved them. No orders. No fear, no hesitation. The moment that machine pulled those 2 men from the water, war changed. Not eventually, not theoretically. On June 8, 2026, in the dark, in the Gulf of Oman, it already happened. If this analysis gave you something you didn't have before, hit like, subscribe and turn on the bell. Now check the next video.